Started like any other weekend. My mom had gone out of town to visit her sister in Chicago, leaving me alone with my stepdad, Rick. Rick wasn't a bad guy most of the time. He worked hard, paid the bills, and had been part of our lives for 5 years now. But there were moments when his smile turned into something hollow and his temper simmered beneath the surface. Those moments always came out when he drank too much. My name's Amanda, and I was 17 then, just trying to make it through my senior year of high school. I didn't think much of it when Rick opened his first beer at noon that Saturday. He usually waited until the evening, but with Mom gone and the house quiet, I guess he figured there were no rules. By the time it got dark, the six-pack was gone, and he had moved on to whiskey. He slurred his words when he called out my name from the living room. "Amanda, come watch this movie with me." I stayed in my room, headphones in, pretending not to hear. Something in his tone made me uneasy, like the way his voice was too cheerful, too forced. A few minutes later, he knocked on my door. "Come on, kiddo," he said, his voice thicker now. "You never hang out with me. Let's do something together. I'm not that bad, am I?" I opened the door a crack. His eyes were glassy, and he swayed slightly as he stood. I told him I had homework, but he insisted. "Just for a bit. Watch one movie. I'll leave you alone after that." Against my better judgment, I followed him into the living room. He put on some old war film I'd never heard of and sat too close to me on the couch. His hand rested on the cushion beside mine, just a little too close. I hugged my knees to my chest and stared at the screen, counting the seconds. Half an hour in, he passed out, whiskey glass still clutched in his hand. I slipped away and went to my room, locking the door behind me. That should have been the end of it. But sometime around 3 a.m., I heard the floorboards creaking outside my room. I sat up, heart thudding. The knob jiggled. "Amanda," Rick whispered through the door. "I had a dream. It was real. I need to talk to you." I didn't respond. I heard him sigh and shuffle away. The next morning he acted like nothing happened. He made breakfast, burnt eggs and runny toast, and tried to joke about the movie. I didn't mention the 3 a.m. visit. But things got stranger after that. He started watching me more closely. I'd catch him standing in the hallway, staring at my door. Once I walked out of the bathroom and found him right there, claiming he needed to fix a squeaky hinge on the door. He wasn't holding any tools. On Monday I went to school early just to get out of the house. That night I called my mom and told her something was off. "He's probably just lonely," she said, brushing it off. "I'll be home in a few days. Hang in there." But I wasn't sure I could. Tuesday night I found Rick in the garage. He had a bunch of old photo albums spread out. When I asked what he was doing, he said he was looking for the truth. That night I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. At 2:45 a.m. I heard the basement door creak. Rick had gone down there, mumbling to himself. I tiptoed to the basement stairs and peeked down. He was talking to someone, or maybe just to himself. "She knows," he whispered. "She knows what happened." Then I heard something that made my blood run cold. He said my name. Not once, but over and over like a chant. I backed away, heart hammering, and locked myself in my room. I didn't sleep. The next morning he acted completely normal. Offered to drive me to school. I declined. That evening, while he was passed out again, I snuck down to the basement. There were more photo albums, newspaper clippings, and old letters scattered everywhere. One newspaper article caught my eye. It was about a teenage girl who had gone missing in a town 2 hours away. Her name was Katie Turner. The article was dated 15 years ago. She looked just like me. I turned over the clipping. On the back was a list of names, including Katie's, with dates next to them. Some were crossed out. Amanda was on that list too. Name. I stared at it, disbelief crawling up my spine. The date next to my name was the day my mom left for Chicago. 3 days ago. I heard Rick's footsteps upstairs and quickly put everything back. That night, I packed a bag and waited for the right moment to leave. But Rick was awake. "Where are you going?" he asked from the shadows. I lied and said I was staying at a friend's. Your mom wouldn't like that, he said, stepping closer. She'd want you to stay here. With family. I nodded and backed away. But I didn't go to my room. I waited until he fell asleep again and slipped out the window. I ran 2 blocks to my friend Jessica's house. Her parents let me in and I told them everything. They called the police. When officers arrived at our house the next morning, Rick was gone. The basement had been cleaned out. No newspapers, no clippings, no photos. Just dust and silence. A statewide search was launched. Nothing turned up for weeks. My mom was devastated and blamed herself for leaving me alone. Then one day a detective called. They found a cabin in the woods, rented under a fake name. Inside were more photo clippings and evidence linking Rick to several missing girls. Girls who all looked eerily similar. My name was still on that list, circled in red. Rick was declared a fugitive. His face was plastered on every news station. But he was never caught. Some say he vanished into the mountains. Others believe he changed his identity again. As for me, I couldn't sleep for months. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined those footsteps outside my door. Changed schools. We moved across the state. I tried to forget. But sometimes in the dead of night, I still hear someone whispering my name.